everybody, Xzet here. Thanks for checking out my latest video. This is a Warrior 5.0.5 or 5.1 changes PvP arms guide. So if you guys are interested in checking it out, make sure you hit some of these links just here. It'll quickly get you through to any part you want, glyphs, enchants, gems, whatever, or watch the whole guide and let me know what you think of it, because it is my first one and I'm pretty happy with it. And guys, I am heading to Shanghai in a couple of days, so I don't have any videos coming out. But if you guys want me to check out or interview any of your favourite fans or players from the Battle.net Championships, let me know below, and I'll try to get those for you by the time I'm back. Other than that, guys, make sure you subscribe to Dara Mactire or my channel, and I'll see you guys in the future. Enjoy the video. Catch us later. Hello everybody, Xzet here. Thanks for tuning in to my latest video, which will be covering ARMS Warrior PvP for patch 5.0.5. Hopefully you find some interesting information from this guide and it helps you towards making decisions on gear, gems, build, etc. So to start off with, guys, we're going to look at the build. The first tier in the build is going to look at your charge and how to improve your charge. The first option is Juggernaut. Juggernaut can increase your charge to use it every 12 seconds instead of 20. Warbringer, your charge will also knock the target to the ground and stun it for 3 seconds. Or Double Time, you can use your charge twice in a row. Each use has a 20-second charge time. Out of the three, I highly recommend Juggernaut, as that's going to give you the most uptime in any type of PvP form. Warbringer is also handy in arenas, especially if it's glyphed, because you can charge grouped enemies in arenas to knock them down or to peel off your healer, etc. Okay, so tier 2 of your build will be looking at self-heals for warriors. Out of the three are the following. Enrage Regeneration. It's a 1 minute cooldown and it instantly heals you for 10% of your total health and an additional 10% over 5 seconds. It can be used while stunned and it costs no rage if you're already enraged. Second Wind. Whenever you are below 35% health, you regenerate 3% of health per second. Whenever you are struck by a stun or an immobilizing effect, you generate 20 rage over 10 seconds. Then there's Impending Victory. Instantly attacks the target, causing so much damage and healing you for 20% of your maximum health. Killing an enemy that yields experience, honor, it resets the cooldown of Impending Victory and causes your next Impending Victory to heal for 20% of your maximum health. It does replace Victory Rush. Out of the three, I highly recommend by far Second Wind. It is the most OP self-heal for warriors at this point in time, and it's an automatic one for you, so you do not have to think about it when you're in need, it will do it for you. Okay, let's take a look at your third tier in your build. Out of them, it'll include snares, roots, and shouts, which will interrupt casters, all AoE based. So Staggering Shout is a 40-second cooldown. It causes all enemies within 20 yards that are snared to become rooted for 5 seconds. Piercing Hell costs 10 rage, it's an instant cast, and it snares all enemies within 15 yards, reducing their movement speed by 50% for 15 seconds. Disrupting Shout interrupts all spell casting within 10 yards and prevents any spell in that school from being cast for 4 seconds. It is a 40-second cooldown. Now out of the three, I highly recommend Piercing Hell. Now with Piercing Hell, it obviously will slow down people for you. The Staggering Roots, I can't find that much effectiveness for it, because obviously when people are rooted, you know, it might be fantastic if you're a flag carrier in an RBG and you're trying to root people, things like that, that's fine. And Disrupting Shout is also a very popular one as well. If you're very good at getting your snares on with Hamstring, and you like that extra AoE interrupt, definitely go with the Disrupting Shout. It's hard to pick between the two, but they're the ones that I'd highly recommend. I personally use Piercing Hell due to Aussie lag. Let's take a look at the fourth part of your tier for your build. It's going to look at your primary attack, so listen carefully. You have Blade Storm, which is a 1.5 minute cooldown. You become a Whirling Storm of Destruction Force, striking all enemies within 8 yards for 120% weapon damage every 1 second for 6 seconds. During a Blade Storm, you can continue to dodge, block, and parry, and you're immune to all movement impairing and loss of control effects. However, you can be disarmed, and you can only perform shout abilities. While you're Fury, you will also use both weapons. Then you have Shockwave, which is a 20-second cooldown. It sends a wave of force in a frontal cone before you, causing damage and stunning all enemies within 10 yards for 4 seconds. Last, you have Dragon's Roar. It's a 1 minute cooldown. It roars ferociously, causing 120 damage to all enemies within 8 yards, knocking them back and knocking them down for 0 seconds. Dragon Roar is always going to be a critical strike and ignores all armor on the target. So out of the three, it's a really hard one to pick. Everyone has a different playstyle. Shockwave is fantastic for control in arenas, interrupting healers, saving your healer itself when you need. So it is fantastic, and it is only a short cooldown. 20 seconds is fantastic. and it does do quite a lot of damage. Dragon's Roar is also amazing. It hits hard, as it says, it removes all armor, and I do use it if timed very well and perfectly nowadays in Arena. Now that everyone's got a lot more gear, it doesn't hit as hard, but if it's timed perfectly, it can be that killing blow for you. So out of the two, I highly recommend Shockwave for control. I also highly recommend Dragon's Roar if timed perfectly in your Arena set to do big numbers. Okay, now we're going to take a look at the 5th tier in your build. This is a protective type of talent, so we're going to have a look at those. Out of the 3, the first one is Mass Spell Reflect. It's a 1-minute cooldown, and it instantly reflects a spell cast on you or any of your party members or raid members within 20 yards for 5 seconds. Safeguard is a 30-second cooldown. It runs at high speed towards a party or a raid member, removing all movement impairing effects upon yourself and also intercepting the next melee or ranged attack made against them, reducing their damage taken by 20% for 6 seconds. It also replaces Intervene. Vigilance. Focus your protective gaze on a party or a raid member, transferring 30% of the damage taken to you for 12 seconds. During the duration of Vigilance, your taunt has no cooldown. Not that that's needed too much in PvP. So out of the 3 guys, I highly recommend Mass Spell Reflection or Safeguard. Mass Spell Reflection would be fantastic, especially if you need to reflect and you can see that your healer is going to get CC'd or you're going to get Chaos Bolted or anything like that. It's definitely a fantastic help towards your party and also an extra spell reflect for yourself. Or you can use Safeguard, and you can also macro it to your banners. You can use your banners to intervene to it and it'll get you out of all movement impairing effects. Also, it's really handy if you communicate well with your arena team. You can see your healer is about to get trapped. You can Safeguard to him, eat the trap for him, and the healer is still free to heal. Out of the both, I personally use Spell Reflection because I like to reflect those Chaos Bolts and especially those CCs, but it is completely your choice. They're both fantastic talents. Okay, so now we're going to look at the final tier of the build. Avatar, 3-minute cooldown. You transform into an unstoppable Colossus for 20 seconds. It increases your damage dealt by 20% and causing your attacks to generate 30% extra rage. While transformed, you're immune to all movement impairing effects. Then we have Bloodbath. It's a 1-minute cooldown. For the next 12 seconds, you cause your melee special attacks to deal an additional 30% damage as they bleed over 6 seconds. While bleeding, the target moves at 50% reduced speed. Stormbolt is a 30-second cooldown. You hurl your weapon at an enemy, causing 100% weapon damage and stunning the target for 3 seconds. It deals an additional 300% weapon damage to targets that are permanently immune to stuns. Out of the 3, at this point in time, I highly recommend Avatar. It is a very OP talent for warriors, giving you the fact that you're immune to all movement impairings and the extra rage and the damage dealt. That mixed with some other cooldowns, it is quite good. Bloodbath is also a fantastic talent as well. As it has a shorter cooldown, it gives higher pressure at a more constant rate. It depends on your class and your play style, but I personally use Avatar for that burst. Okay guys, also keep in mind that patch 5.1 is coming and Avatar does have a slight nerf. Avatar now breaks all roots and snares, but it no longer makes you immune to movement impairing effects. The duration is increased to 24 seconds up from 20, and it no longer regenerates extra rage. So when this patch comes out, please be aware that Avatar will have a slight nerf, and maybe Bloodbath might come in and be a bit more useful pressure wise. We're not too sure, we'll need to see when it comes, but don't forget that that patch is on its way, and those changes will take effect. Other than that guys, that does cover the build, talents and the specs. Hopefully that did help you a little bit. Now we're going to move on to stat priority. Alright guys, so now we're going to take a look at your stat priority. Stats are the core of your character, and how you choose to balance those stats will greatly impact the effectiveness of your arms warrior. So hopefully this guide can help you towards making the best choice when it comes to stat priority and reforging, which we'll cover in the next step. Okay guys, so if you take a look at the big long bar there, it shows that expertise 3% for your soft cap and melee soft cap 3% for mob is the priority. PvP power, strength, PvP resilience, crit, mastery, haste in that order is your stat priority. So follow that guide and you should be fine. I'm about to go through the stat summaries for each of those to help you make your decision when it comes to reforging. So expertise is a 3% soft cap. That's around about 1020 rating. This will eliminate your attackers from being dodged or parried or by casters, specs and other classes. Expertise beyond 3% continues to reduce your chance for your attacks to be dodged or parried, but this amount of expertise comes at the cost of other good stats. It is a matter of preference and playstyle to decide on how much expertise you need to prevent parries and dodges from other players. Next we'll be looking at the melee hit 3% soft cap. make sure the hit cap of 3%, which is also 1020 rating, is at the max. This will eliminate the chance for any special ability to miss against other players. Now we have PvP power. It increases all damage done to players and their pets and minions, and increases healing done in PvP zones. So PvP power is your main stat for PvP, especially in zones, so make sure you look into that as much as you can. The next thing on your priority list is strength. It increases your attack power and the damage dealt by all of your abilities. Resilience is next. Provides damage reduction against all damage done by players and their pets and minions. So the more resilience you have, the less damage you're going to take pretty much. Next of all in your priority stats is crit chance. Increases your chance of your attacks to critically hit for 200% damage. Crit is really nice. I love crit. Mastery. Mastery for Arms Warriors. Strikes opportunity. It gives your melee attacks a chance to trigger an additional attack for reduced damage. And then your last priority would be haste. Like I said at the start, guys, is everybody's playstyle is different. Some people might like haste, but this is the rough guide on the majority of players and myself. Okay, so that should cover all of your stat priority, especially when it comes to reforging, which we're about to take a look at next. Okay guys, so we've now moved on to the reforging the gear section. Reforging allows you to modify the secondary stats on your gear. So using this guide I'm about to show you should help you optimize the performance of your Arms Warrior. So as from before, follow the main bar there. Expertise, melee, hit, PvP power, strength, PvP resilience, crit, mastery, haste. To start off with, make sure that you are capped. Your expertise soft cap of 3% or more if you prefer, and your melee hit of 3%. Optimize your secondary stats. I can't help you with that because I don't know what gear you have, but any items without crit or mastery, reforge the weakest stat, see the priority bar above, into crit or mastery or anything that is available that will improve your warrior. That's all I can help you with reforging. It is a complex situation depending on your gear. Hope it helped. Now we're going to move on to gems and enchants. Okay guys, so we've made it to the gem sockets part of the guide. To start off with, we are going to cover the meta gems. So the meta gem will be a reverberating primal diamond. It is 216 strength with 3% increased critical effect. If you don't have a jewel crafter in the guild, these can be quite expensive on the auction house, but it is definitely by far the best meta gem for warriors. Prismatic is going to be either the 2 Stormy River's Heart, which gives you 320 PvP power, or the Mystic Sun's Radiance, which gives you 320 PvP resilience. For blue gems, Stormy River's Heart, again with 320 PvP power, or the Vivid Wild Jade with 160 PvP power and 160 resilience. For red sockets, Tense Imperial Amethyst, which 80 strength and 160 PvP power, or the Resplendent Vermilion Onyx, which has 80 strength and 160 PvP resilience. Yellow, last but not least, we can use the Radiant Wild Jade or the Vivid Wild Jade. They both have the 160 critical strike, 160 PvP power, and the 160 PvP power with the 160 PvP resilience. So hopefully if you follow the guide with these gems, it should help you optimize your stats that you are in need of for your warrior. Everyone is different, obviously based on what types of gear you have for your warrior, but these are by far the best gems. Check them out in the auction house. It could cost you a little bit, but it's definitely going to optimize your performance. That's all for gems. We're now going to move on for enchants. Alrighty guys, so now we're on to the enchant side of the guide. Hopefully these enchants do help you towards your warrior progress. These have been picked by myself and they are the most preferred enchant for warriors. So we'll start off with shoulders. Greater Tiger Fang Inscription. Permanently adds 20 strength and 100 critical strike to a shoulder item. Chest Super Resilience permanently enchants chest armor to increase your PvP resilience by 200. Braces Exceptional Strength permanently enchants braces to increase 170 strength. Gloves Super Strength permanently enchants gloves to increase strength by 170. Enchant your boots. The Pandarian Step permanently enchants a pair of boots to increase movement speed slightly and mastery by 140. And Belt Living Steel Belt Buckle. Permanently attach a living steel belt buckle into the belt, adding a socket to the belt. So you can have an additional gem, and choice is yours. That goes back to the gems for the prismatic gem socket. I'm just going to flick through to page 2 of enchants because there are more. Alrighty guys, for part 2 of the enchants, we've got legs. The Angerhide leg armor permanently attach armor to your pants, increasing your strength by 285 and critical strike by 165. Then for weapons, we have Dancing Steel. Permanently enchants a melee weapon to sometimes increase your strength or agility by 1650 when dealing melee damage. Your highest stat will always be chosen. Then we have the Living Steel Weapon Chain. It attaches a chain to your weapon, reducing the duration of disarm by 60%. And it also increases your expertise by 200, and it does not stack with any other similar effects. Then for cloaks, we have the Accuracy Enchant, which permanently enchants a cloak to increase its hit by 180 or you can use the critical strike enchant, which permanently enchants your cloak to increase your critical strike by 180. Now all these enchants, guys, can be found on the auction house or any type of enchanter or inscription that can make the shoulder enchants for you. So they can be pretty expensive, but they are the best for you to optimize your warrior's DPS. So I hope that helped. We're now going to move on to profession perks. Alrighty guys, so now we're up to the profession perks part of my guide. I really did want to add this because you don't find it in many guides out there, and it can sort of help you if you didn't realize. If you have professions, these are some of the perks that can help you. So to start off with, we've got alchemy. Mixology, you receive an increase of effect of duration when you drink any elixir or flask that you are able to make, which is pretty good for BGs. I know you can't use it for arenas, but BGs and world PvP, it's definitely there. Now for blacksmithing, socket braces and socket gloves, it allows you to socket either of and give you an additional gem, which gives you more stats. For inscription, the Secret Tiger Fang inscription is a shoulder enchant. It's a lot better than the other shoulder enchant you can buy if you're not an inscriptionist. This permanently adds 520 strength and 100 critical strike to any shoulder item. That is pretty good. Jewel crafting, you can create a 320 strength gem to put into your gear. So make sure you do make that and utilize that if you have any of the above professions. Now for page 2 for profession perks, let's check that one out. Alrighty guys, so for part 2 of profession perks, we have enchanting, which is the enchant ring for greatest strength. Permanently enchants your ring to increase your strength by 160. Engineering, you've got the nitro boost, which increases your speed, your run speed by 5 seconds. They rarely explode is what it says, but they actually do. The synapse springs, I can never say that right, permanently attaches a synapse springs to your gloves, allowing you to increase your highest primary statistic by 1920 for 10 seconds. So in this case it would be your strength. So attaching that with a macro when using dancing steel or cooldowns with avatar or even a trinket, you could get some pretty big numbers. So make sure you utilize that if you have engineering. Leatherworking, you get the third lining of strength, permanently enchant your brace to increase strength by 500. That's huge. So if you're a leatherworker, make sure you're using that. Or tailoring, the sword guard embroidery. Embroiders a magical pattern into your cloak, causing your damage, melee, and range attacks to sometimes increase your attack power by 4,000 for 15 seconds, which is again pretty big. So that's pretty much it for your professional or profession perks. I hope that did help, because a lot of people don't utilize those types of perks, especially when they have those professions. So make sure you do. And now we're going to actually move on to glyphs, because I forgot to show you a bit about glyphs when we were doing the builds and the tiers before. Alrighty everybody, we are up to the final part of my guide. It is the major glyphs. Now I'm going to cover the top 5 that are used by some of the top players in the world and the most renowned and used glyphs. So to start off with, we're going to use Glyph of the Overpower. Cleave hits increase the damage of your next Overpower by 20%. Clear as it is, it does more damage whenever you use a cleave, which is pretty good. Glyph of Death from Above reduces the cooldown of your heroic leap by 15 seconds and increases its damage by 100%. This can be utilized in so many ways. You have got the enemy down to low health, he's running away, you can heroic leap onto him, kill him with an execute, or you can time it with a dragon's roar or anything like that, or when they're in a big group, it does more damage and the cooldown's less, so it's a really good one to look into. Glyph of the Gag Order. Now this is an amazing glyph. Use it while you can, because it's about to be gone with the patch 5.1. Your pummel and heroics throw will also silence the target for 3 seconds. It's amazing. It's a distance silence in arenas and things like that. Fantastic. The next one is Glyph of Hindering Strikes. Your heroic strike and cleave now also reduce the target's movement speed by 50% for 8 seconds. This is amazing. You're also dealing damage as well as slowing your target. So once you've got the hamstring on there, you can use this and not need to worry about applying hamstring. The next one is Glyph of Blitz. This one is back to how I said at the start of the guide regarding your build. If you have the charge to stun additional targets when in need, this will also give you additional to stun to nearby targets, which is awesome. Especially if you're trying to peel off healers, or you charge into a group in arenas, anything like that. It is based on situation, so if you don't think you're going to use that much, don't use it. But that pretty much concludes the top 5 glyphs that I think should make it into the marks. But that's my guide for you guys, so I hope you really did enjoy it. I hope it really helped you guys make some decisions towards your warrior when it comes to gems, stats, reforging, anything like that. So if you're stuck and it helped you, let me know below, leave me a comment, and yeah, I just wanted some feedback on my first guide. Anyway guys, it was great making the video, and I'll talk to you guys next time. See you later.